He failed primary school exams twice. He failed middle school 3 times. When a fast food chain opened in his town, 24 people applied. 23 got hired. Only 1 was rejected. That man would later build one of the largest companies on earth. This is not just a success story. This is the psychology of what happens when rejection stops breaking you and starts training you. Let's start at the moment everything looked hopeless. Chapter 1. The making of a rejection-proof mind. Before the world knew him. Before billions of dollars. Before global influence. He was just a skinny boy growing up in Hangzhou, China. Nothing about his early life suggested greatness. No academic brilliance. No elite family. No special connections. Just struggle. School was hard for him. Not slightly hard. Repeatedly failing exams hard. Imagine what that does to a child's psychology. Most children build identity from success. He built his identity from failure. And this is where the first psychological shift begins. Because repeated failure does one of 2 things. It either convinces you that you are incapable, or it teaches you that failure is survivable. This is the difference between fragile confidence and durable confidence. Fragile confidence needs proof. Durable confidence needs only endurance. He was unknowingly developing the second. As a teenager, he became fascinated with English. Not because school required it, because tourists visited his city. Every morning, he rode his bicycle to hotels just to speak with foreigners. For free. No payment. No certificate. No reward. Just curiosity. For nearly 9 years, he kept doing this. 9 years. This is psychologically important. Because while others chased grades, he chased exposure. And exposure builds adaptability. Adaptability builds confidence. Confidence builds risk tolerance. Risk tolerance builds entrepreneurs. Most success stories focus on money decisions. But psychological toughness is built much earlier, in the small, seemingly useless habits nobody notices. After finishing school, adulthood arrived. And this is where the real storm began. He applied for job after job. Rejected. 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 Police department. Rejected. Hotel jobs. Rejected. Office roles. Rejected. Then came the famous moment. A branch of KFC opened locally. 24 applicants. 23 hired. Only 1 rejected. Him. Pause and imagine that emotional moment. Not theoretical rejection. Visible rejection. Standing there, watching everyone else get selected. Psychologically, this is what most people cannot survive. Because public rejection attacks identity. It whispers, "You are the problem." But here's what separated him. He didn't interpret rejection as a verdict. He interpreted it as information. That mindset difference changes everything. He applied to Harvard multiple times. Rejected. Again. Rejected. Again. Rejected. Over and over. Now understand something critical. Most people think toughness means not feeling pain. Wrong. Psychological toughness means feeling the full pain, but refusing the final conclusion. Rejection says, stop. Toughness says, adjust. This is the core mental model that later shaped his leadership philosophy. In the mid-1990s, he traveled to the United States. There, he encountered the internet for the first time. He searched for the word beer. Results appeared for American beer, German beer, European beer, but nothing from China. This moment triggered a psychological realization. Opportunity is often invisible locally, but obvious globally. He returned home convinced the internet would change everything. Nobody believed him. Not investors. Not friends. Not institutions. But psychological toughness is not built on agreement. It is built on conviction without validation. Chapter 2. The first failed businesses. His first internet ventures failed. Money ran out. Plans collapsed. Confidence from outsiders vanished. And here's the dangerous stage. Not early failure. Not late success. But mid-journey uncertainty. This is where most people quit. Because early failure still has hope. But mid-journey failure feels like wasted years. Psychologically, this phase destroys more dreams than poverty ever does. Yet he continued. In 1999, he gathered 18 friends in his apartment. He pitched an idea. An online marketplace connecting Chinese businesses to global buyers. Nobody fully understood the internet then. No proven model locally. No guarantee of success. Just belief. That idea became Alibaba Group. But even then, funding was hard. Criticism was constant. Failure risk was enormous. The outside world saw chaos. Inside, psychologically, something powerful was happening. He had crossed the line where rejection no longer controlled him. Once you cross that line, fear loses its authority. Chapter 3. The Real Psychology of Toughness. Let's pause the story. Because this is the lesson. Psychological toughness is not being fearless, being confident, or being talented. It is something far simpler. It is the repeated experience of surviving things you thought would end you. Every failed exam, every job rejection, every humiliation. Each one quietly trained his nervous system, until eventually, risk felt normal. And when risk feels normal, opportunity becomes visible. Chapter 4. The Explosion. Alibaba grew. Slowly first, then rapidly, then globally. Millions of businesses joined. Billions in transactions flowed. Eventually, one of the largest IPOs in history. The same man once rejected from basic employment, now employing hundreds of thousands. This is not luck. This is the compound interest of psychological endurance. Chapter 5. Lessons to learn. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most people do not fail because life is hard. They fail because their identity cannot survive rejection. They need approval to continue. They need evidence before belief. They need support before movement. But the pattern we've just seen shows the opposite. Sometimes the only qualification required for extraordinary success is the willingness to be repeatedly told no and continue anyway. If rejection has been following you lately, if doors keep closing, if opportunities keep passing you by, you might not be falling behind. You might be training for something bigger than the people being accepted today. Because history shows something strange. The people the world rejects early are often the ones strong enough to reshape it later. Please like and subscribe for more content like this.